Welcome back to Capitol Review. We're here with Virginia Senator Mark Warner. And Senator, you recently had a conversation at the Fortune CEO Initiative Conference in D.C. And there you said China is a greater threat than anything we faced with the Soviets. Why is that?
Well, the Soviet Union was a military threat. They were a great military power. And they had a different ideology. They had communism, which obviously the world has rejected. In China, we have a country that is a great country. And my beef with China, let me make clear, is with the Communist Party of China and their leadership, Xi Jinping. And it's not with the Chinese people, or of course not with Chinese Americans, who are great citizens and great contributors to our country. But China is both a military challenge. They are an economic system that is kind of, I call it authoritarian capitalism, where they allow dramatic competition inside their country. And then they have a Chinese national champion that the government backs around the world. And China is investing in new technology in a way that America used to in the 1960s. China is investing at a level that we are not in this country. And my concern is we've got to view China in terms of military challenge, but we also have to view China in terms of who's going to win the race for the future in terms of new technologies. I firmly believe that the country that makes the most technological advances will control or drive the world's economy going forward. And China is competing both on an investment level and on a level to try to set the standards for some of these new technologies. So again, one of the areas that hasn't gotten a lot of attention, but the Senate in a bipartisan way said, America needs to step up. For example, on semiconductors, we passed legislation that I hope the House will pass before Christmas that would invest $52 billion in additional semiconductor production right here in America. Because one of the reasons we've got inflation, one of the reasons we've got, for example, if you can't buy a new car, we've got thousands of cars sitting up in Michigan and that can't be delivered because they don't have a small microprocessing chip. The companies can't buy those chips. We have a chip shortage. So if we can have that supply chain rebuilt here in this country with semiconductors, we win there. And I'm continuing to make the case that we need to make the kind of record investments we used to make in areas like artificial intelligence, like quantum computing, like the development around life sciences. And we've shown when we put our mind to it, we can. You know, one of the greatest things our country did with other nations around the world, particularly democracies, is the ability for us to develop the COVID vaccine in about 11 months. That was kind of American innovation on steroids. We need to do that in a series of other fields because China is a competitor unlike anything we've seen. The Soviet Union was frankly never an economic competitor. China's market, in many people view, will soon be bigger than ours, and we have to view it as a challenge.
Yeah, good to know. So as we all know, the Virginia elections took over every local and national headline. So now under Glenn Youngkin's leadership as governor-elect and as governor, what are you hoping to see for the Commonwealth and the future of the Commonwealth? Have you spoken to him at all since then?
I have spoken to Governor-elect Youngkin. I knew him from his days in business. I was, again, a business guy longer than I've been a politician. And I wish Governor-elect Youngkin well. I mean, he's the governor now. I want him to do well for Virginia. I do think the Democrats, you know, it took us so long to get the bipartisan infrastructure bill passed. I think that was a huge mistake in the campaign. And I also think Governor Youngkin really touched a chord on his appeal to parents about education. I mean, I think my friend Terry McAuliffe could have done a better job of showing empathy. I don't know a parent around, and I say that as a father of three daughters who are now in their 20s, so they're out of the house, but I don't know a parent around over the last 18 months that it hasn't been, frankly, hell trying to deal with how you get your kids educated. And I think he touched a chord about that notion of empowering parents. I hope that he will govern from the middle and not try to roll back things like the advances we made in making it easier to vote. I frankly think Governor Youngkin was really smart in encouraging his people to go vote for him in those 45 days of early voting we had in Virginia. I think it would be a dreadful mistake if he tried to roll back those early voting laws the way Republican governors have in Georgia and Texas and elsewhere. So I think the jury's out, and I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. And my intention is to work with him everywhere I can, as long as he's putting Virginia first.
Virginia Senator Mark Warner, thank you so much for being here on Capitol Review and for your time.
Thank you.
All right, we'll be right back.